Success is important to all of us. When we hear the term, certain images come to mind: homes, careers, money. We've been conditioned to want more, bigger, and better, and we want it now. But how do we know when we actually find success? We're so often preoccupied with charging forward in search of it that we fail to recognize the value of the success we have today. Life is a great teacher. It proves to us that all the energy we devote to the search for success is not in vain. Time tells us what not to do, what we do best, and suggests what to do next. Sometimes, instead of taking a step forward or trying to climb higher, we simply need to take time to pivot. My story. My career journey isn't much different than many others. Growing up, there wasn't anything in particular I wanted to do or be. My sister took accounting classes and liked them, so I followed her lead. I liked the classes and did well, so naturally, that became my career focus. I studied finance at Northwestern's Graduate School of Business and worked for firms like Goldman Sachs and CBS News. Then I stepped away to have a family. When I returned to the workforce, I wanted to do something more directly with people, but in a meaningful way. For me, that meant breaking with my own expectations of doing bigger things in finance. I needed a pivot. A pivot is usually a response to changes and challenges. In basketball, pivoting is when you keep one foot firmly planted in place while moving with the other. This gives you time to reposition, find a new opening, to figure out a new way to advance. In life and business, a pivot can lead to a small shift as we continue along the same path, or a completely different strategic change. In my case, a friend told me about an opportunity with a nonprofit organization where I would be able to use my skills and experiences to help young people start their careers. I was able to keep one foot firmly planted in the resources that had propelled me forward earlier in my career while stepping forward into a whole new space. Taking the time to pivot instead of holding on to what I should do allowed me to tap into my natural gifts and talents. I've worked as a career coach now for over 15 years, helping clients connect their talents with their goals and the right jobs. I work with students, professionals, and executives around the world. I have found my calling, but that's not the end of the story. Being a great coach and loving my work did not silence the voices in my head yearning for more visible success. I would often look into opportunities that offered more impressive titles and even more money. I had to fight the desire for more, bigger, and better, and reframe how I thought about my success. I was in the right soil. I had to learn to appreciate it, grow in it, and value the contributions I was making in the lives of others. I began to design my career with purpose and intent. I continued to sharpen my coaching skills and find joy in my work. I made another pivot and returned to the corporate world, where I have an even bigger platform to coach professionals in their search for career success. So how do we define success? We look for formulas. Is it how many connections we have on LinkedIn? The number of emails we receive that say good job? Or something as simple as a tweet? We all know these aren't the answers. But what if we could let go of the expectations of family, friends, and old dreams? What if we could break through the noise of other voices and the teasings of social media to define our own success? And leverage social media as a tool to see the people and communities we have already influenced. Today, I want to share with you how to redefine your success. The average career will span 40 years. If we factor in 50 weeks a year at 40 hours a week, we will devote 80,000 working hours to our careers. An organization called 80,000 Hours suggests to find value and meaning in our work, we need to do 3 things. 1, not focus on more money and less stress. 2, not spend hours searching for our passion. But 3, become good at what we're already doing and help others where we can. When we look at our lives in perspective, we can see the power in who we are. We can see the value of our contributions to people, places, and things. Changing how you define success will allow you to find real satisfaction in the impact you are having on people and communities. In our search for success, we have high expectations, we want the right fit, and the perfect match. There might be rejection, and the outcome is never guaranteed. Success in our careers is what we all want, and we want it to bring lasting satisfaction. I'm going to share with you how to redefine success on your terms with a practical 5-step action plan. Step number 1, break with expectations. This isn't easy. We all have visions of who we should be or want to become. I coached an amazing young woman who had 3 very successful summer internships with the same investment banking firm. She was certain she would receive the full-time return offer. She did not. She was devastated. In working with her, I had to remind her of her skills, talent, and even value. She was able to leverage those banking experiences and land a great job with a tech firm on the West Coast. She had to do what I call step number 2 of the action plan: let go and stay positive. Sean Aker, an author on happiness in the workplace, states, "The better your brain is at using its energy to focus on the positives, the greater your chances at success." I work with another talented young woman who is graduating from MIT. She wanted nothing to do with a career in business and created this false narrative in her mind that she was best suited to work in nonprofit or education. She mistakenly believed that those were easier places to achieve success. But my work with her led me to believe that she could do anything. As she built professional relationships, her confidence grew. She was able to see herself as a leader. Happy ending? For the past 9 years, she has been a successful consultant at several top consulting firms. Step number 3, take inventory of your success, be it with people, systems, or organizations. I also worked with a young man who was a mechanic in the military. He was completing college while on active duty, and his dream was to be an investment banking analyst. He was competing with students from top universities and felt insecure given his non-traditional path. The more he learned about the opportunities and attended information sessions, the more he was convinced it was an impossible goal to achieve. He considered himself a mechanic, but after learning more about his work, he was actually a technician who worked on sophisticated weapon systems that included the B-1 bomber. I reframed his story and showcased how his skills were transferable to the opportunities he wanted to pursue. In fact, having matured in the military and gaining on-the-job problem-solving skills gave him a competitive advantage. Step number 4, connect with the joy of what you are doing. I coach talented professionals and help them build amazing careers. When they arrive at a crossroad, we work through what they ideally want to do, what they are well suited for, and what they will ultimately find happiness in. This is the work I love. According to Dr. Michael Pratt, a professor of management and organization at Boston College, there are different ways to find meaning in one's work. He tells an old English tale about 3 bricklayers hard at work. When someone asks, "What are you doing?" the first bricklayer says, "I'm putting one brick on top of the other." The second one says, "I'm making 6 pence an hour." And the third bricklayer says, "I'm building a cathedral, a house of God." The third bricklayer clearly had a positive perspective about the nature of his work. This is an example of how we can use cognitive restructuring to reframe how we think about work. You must realize the inspiring end of your work and its deeper value. When you find value in your work and achievements, don't downplay it. You are not just laying bricks. Focus and connect with the joy of building something magnificent. Step number 5, and the final step, move forward, one step at a time, doing the things you know you can achieve. Clients come to me knowing where they want to end up, but don't know the steps to get there. I spend time working with them, identifying and working the steps, finding the appropriate companies, the right people to speak to, and the depth of preparation they need to do. I remember an email I received from a client that warmed my heart, and it read, "My coach was always in the know of where I was in the job search process, and she was very insightful as to what things I should be doing and what I should focus on to be successful." True happiness and success are realized when you embrace the path that you are on and realize and accept that it is your path. A Hungarian psychologist at Claremont Graduate University published a book called Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience, and states, "What I discovered was that happiness is not something that happens. It is not the result of good fortune or random chance. It is not something that money can buy or power command. It does not depend on outside events, but rather on how we interpret them. Happiness, in fact, is a condition that must be prepared for, cultivated, and defended privately by each person. People who learn to control inner experience will be able to determine the quality of their lives, which is as close as any of us can come to being happy." So how do we move forward? Focus on sharpening the tools in your toolkit. Consistently deliver excellence. Be dependable. Be the expert. Become a well-known brand of value that others can count on. Career success isn't a destination, it's a journey through a marketplace of choices, decisions, trials, and triumphs. Research shows that our genes, our heredity, are only responsible for about half of our happiness levels. Our actions and attitudes account for almost all of the other half. So if our choices and attitudes have a significant impact on our happiness, how do we cultivate and maintain a state of positivity and well-being in the workplace? Identify what you are designed for. Find your fertile soil. Recognize your gifts, talents, abilities, and contributions. Ask yourself, am I operating in it in a meaningful way? Embrace that your success might not line up with your family's expectations or your idea of what you should be and what you see in social media. What's your pivot? How will you reposition? Is it a small shift or a fundamental change? Peace and resolve comes when you pivot and redefine success. Thank you.